welcome to Knowledge Business Momentum. This is episode 6. As you can see, two things. There's 3 of us here together. We're all in the same room, and we are lounging poolside. So we got some drinks, we got some dogs running around. It's a good time. So thank you for joining us. Today we are going to talk about strategies. I know we've covered that before. We're going to go in a different direction. So first I'm going to recap the strategy that we've talked about before. And then I want to go into and ask questions to Matt and Wes about what are some common mistakes you see with strategy, and then what are different strategy, basically facets and aspects that you as a business owner need to think of. So come on, enjoy the ride, and let's get started.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
In the same place, the same time.
Yes.
Doesn't happen too
Amazing.
often.
And thanks for everyone watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button, share this with a friend. We always like expanding our community.
Yes. And forgive us for the sweat. It is 100 degrees and we are in Texas. So I'm a little damp over here.
But we're in the shade and it's
Yeah.
really nice. And so, thanks to Mrs. Reagan for hosting us, even though she's not here and she doesn't, she may or not even know that we're out at the pool, but
Yeah.
Jana, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks, Mom. I'm almost 40. I'm still thinking Mom. But that's how it goes. All right. So recap of last time. Really a couple things. The key takeaways from our 3-part series on strategy is 1, strategy is both long-term and short-term. You can't do one without the other. Remember the canoe analogy? If you're canoeing and you know your destination and you see your destination, but everyone's not in sync, you won't get there. Or if everyone's paddling and in sync, but you don't have a destination, you won't get there either. The last thing I want to bring up is the garden analogy. There's really 2 facets to strategy with the garden, and that is 1, the initial planting. You got to plant the garden. You got to make it look beautiful. You have to pick the seeds, organize it, lay it out. And then 2, the continual improvement of that garden. You have to tend to it. You have to pull the weeds. You have to add stuff for seasons. Strategy is long-term, strategy is short-term, and strategy is continuous work.
It's pulling the weeds and planting the fertilizer and watering.
Absolutely.
On a regular basis.
Yes. When we go with the client through that, we talk about meeting cadences. We do a annual session, we do quarterly sessions. And depending on the client, we can either do weekly or bi-weekly sessions as well. So that's basically the recap. From there, let's open it up. What are some common errors you see in strategy?
Well, so in my experience, a lot of small businesses and individuals in general kind of look at strategy as a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, and which is why we did the series of breaking down the different components. But strategy isn't just like getting into a spreadsheet and charting out what's my financial growth going to look like. It's getting into saying like, okay, what's my strategy on the operations? What is it on the finance? What is it on my personal wealth? Like there's just different facets of it, and you have to have that continual iteration of, okay, here's my short-term plan for my personal finances, but here's my long-term protection. Here's my short-term plan to grow customers, but here's the long-term plan. And so it sounds cliche, but it's such a big umbrella strategy. But there's so many facets of it that you can kind of get lost in the weeds unless you have really good business partners guiding you along the path. Right. And that's what I think we do really well, is we say like, hey, listen, man, we have different backgrounds. And so Brian, you're able to say like, hey, listen, this is your financials, right? Like I'm going to help you clean up your cost of goods, clean up, some of the expenses, and focus on some of these things to improve the bottom line. Wes and I hop in and we talk about, okay, like what are some creative thinkings and strategies for tax savings or for operational growth? And so it's really kind of, you have to have a multifaceted team that is able to offer multifaceted solutions, because every customer is just a little different.
Yeah. And I think one thing that we see a lot, and I'm thinking of one client in particular, they might have us only do their corporate strategy, and then they have a financial planner that manages completely something else.
Yeah.
And it's only a portion of their wealth, and they have this over here that's also doing its own thing, and they're not synced. Like, they don't talk to each other.
Right. And it's that financial junk drawer, right? So
Yeah.
fundamentally, it's like, hey, we all, like, everyone has the components all together, but it's how often does somebody actually take the time to say, like, this is how I can explain this. Like, if I'm hit by a bus, who's going to be able to put it all together?
Right.
And who's going to be able to make sure that the tax attorney is talking to the CPA, is talking to the real estate attorney, is talking to my business partners.
Right.
We get lost in the day-to-day operations that we kind of lose focus on, like, hey, how do we all work together? And so again, that's how you have to have a
That's
good
what we're
partner.
talking about. When we did our podcast together, was a lot of people get focused on only the tax strategy side, and they forget that you have to strategize each piece. I think that's what we do the best, right? Like we have two sets of eyes on coming from multiple different angles, so we can really hone in on what a client's, I don't like to use the word weakness necessarily, but where they could benefit the most
Opportunity.
from opportunity. And so I think we do that well because I come from a more tax, bookkeeping, accounting side.
Yeah.
And, y'all come from more of a financial business growth model. And so it works really cohesively, I think. And so, we don't want to get too down into the weeds of this specific strategy, and we will at some point, but it's every piece of the business and every piece of the puzzle has to come together cohesively to achieve whatever the goal is you set, whether it's growth, whether it's a valuation so you can sell, or whether it's an exit strategy so you can retire and hand down the business to your children.
Yeah.
Or I guess an employee, you could do that, right? And
Yeah,
so
whoever your
Yeah.
team is.
Kind of think of the business as like a marriage. Like you can't have one person hold all of the knowledge about all the accounts and everything, because what happens if they die? The other person is literally left with nothing, doesn't know how to access anything, can't even log into Hulu. It's tragic, but that's what happens in businesses. It's time to retire, it's time to leave, and they haven't set their business up to hand over to the next generation of leaders, and they struggle. And strategy, an all-encompassing strategy, prevents that.
Yeah, it's strategy combined with communication, right? And so it's really one of those things that it's just really so important for all of us individually, but as peers and business owners in outside interests, we have to be able to document and then communicate with the key people, like whoever our stakeholders are, our shareholders are. It's like, hey, listen, this is where the book of knowledge is. This is who has access to it now, and this is what happens if I'm lost in the woods celebrating Argentina's win
right.
over Egypt. Which
Don't judge
by the way,
FIFA. Don't judge FIFA.
I hope they actually win because it's during the game.
Yeah.
So if they lose, we
Officially
will have
they
to
have won.
retract
Yeah.
this.
officially Argentina came down from 2-0 and scored 3 goals in basically 12 minutes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Back to that, though, Matt. I think you hit on like a missing piece in strategy that I don't think has really been communicated yet, and that is communication. I read somewhere, it's probably someone really famous, and I'm probably misquoting it, but strategy without communication is just a dream. Like, if you're not communicating it to your teams, if you're not communicating it to your partner, if you're not communicating it from the top to the guy who delivers the mail at the bottom, you're doing it wrong. And you are going to make mistakes, and there are going to be gaps, and your business will suffer.
Well, and like we had a client that was really big on dreaming strategy. And then maybe there was an opportunity to improve that communication down to everyone else.
Right.
Because we saw that there was a lot of like, oh, this is what we're doing now. Oh, okay, good. And so, it helps to, part of being a good partner is like being a good sounding board and also offering a way to synthesize somebody else's ideas and then like let everyone else know and say like, hey, this is what you mean, this is who you want to tell, and then helping get the message out so everyone else is like, oh, that makes sense, right? So
It's the difference between like trying to drive the canoe down, because that's what you use, right?
Yeah.
Try to drive the canoe down a nice little easy brook, or try to take that thing out in the whitewater rafting.
right.
Right.
And then sometimes you can create your own whitewater rafting by not telling everybody what you're doing. Because if you're paddling one way and they're paddling the other, you're both just spinning in the middle of
Yeah.
a hectic world.
And if
Yep.
you throw the oar out
Right.
because you
That's what
know
it's
that there's
like.
a bigger oar down the road, but
Right.
no one else does, that creates a panic.
Exactly.
So yeah.
100%. So
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah, and communication, a lot of people think that it's just a one-time thing. They do these big press releases, whole company announcement once a quarter. No. Gino Wickman, who wrote the book Traction, he says, I believe it's Gino Wickman that says communication is only memorable if it's heard 7 times. Okay, so maybe it's 10 times. but that's 10 times over time. I see a lot of people, they think it's 7 times in one conversation. No, you can't do that, because after the second time you've lost them, they're like, this is condescending. Why are they repeating themselves?
I told you I was going to work on that, right?
No,
Not on the podcast, right?
Talking about this now. Okay.
Actually, I wasn't thinking I was thinking of someone, though. But no, it has to be 10 times over time. Any way you can do it. Man, be like the Soviet Union and put propaganda everywhere. Put it on the walls. Start every meeting with it. Like, I worked for a company that every single team meeting we had started with a values and action section, where it was, hey, over the last 7 days, what was our core values in action that you saw from our team? And that's a good way to reinforce those values. And then also, like, I've seen CEOs be like, hey, here's $20. Who can tell me our mission statement? And it's just a fun way to reinforce and get everyone involved and to actually know the facets of the company.
Right.
Yeah. The core tenets, more so.
We should do that on our weeklies.
We should,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Right. Sometimes the strategies we share, we don't always get to put to ourselves because we're the guys, so we already
We're
assume
so
that we're doing
busy
it.
helping everyone else.
Yeah,
Cobbler's kids don't always have shoes, man.
that's right. But no, it's definitely something, and and starting off with wins. I think everyone should always try to talk about the wins of the week.
Yeah.
So not just, hey, what's our values in our company? What did we already do good this week? What did we already accomplish when we walked in the door today? Instead, because it doesn't matter what business you run, whether it's $1,000 business or $1 billion business, there's always small wins and big wins that present themselves that often get overlooked because of the stresses of, oh, well, I've got to do this now. I got to go make sure this bill is paid, employees, payroll processed accordingly, that every employee knows my message. And so they forget that, little Sally, and Sally's not a real person, the little Sally working in the mailroom actually has value in that company, not just the $15 or $20 or whatever you're paying Sally. It's more personal. And if you bring that up, they start to see it and recognize it and achieving it. They need to try to push themselves and lift to higher and higher heights.
Absolutely.
Well, and even to that, like small business owners, like
Right.
somebody the size of us, right? Where there's 3 of us, like we have to do a better job of, like, sometimes the win is showing up.
Right.
Mhm.
Sometimes that's all you can do is say like, well, I have him here, man, and
I'm wearing a collared shirt today.
I got more pants. But some business owners, you get to the point to where you don't see the new customers in your pipeline, and you're just like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or you lose a big client and you start to panic. And it's cliche to say, but that's part of the strategy of how do you communicate to yourself, how do you communicate to your team, and how do you communicate to your customers? Like, hey, this is my value proposition, this is how I'm trying to help my team, and this is how I'm trying to help the customers. We all, I think, can do better of just communicating that. So, like, we don't reach out to, I won't say we, I do a poor job of reaching out to our clients just to be like, hey, I need to check in, right?
Right.
So that's something that this podcast is helping me do. Like, hey, I need to hold myself accountable. And now that it's on record, I'm going to do that.
Right.
But like, I have to do a better job of showing up and making sure that there's areas of opportunities that don't go unaddressed, and I think every other small business also struggles with the same thing, but to some degree.
Right.
Yeah, and that's core to any business, and that's being vulnerable as an owner and saying, hey, you know what, this is something I can work on, and then communicating that to your team and just having that conversation like, hey, I'm not great at this team, I need your help. And if you put that in the context of, this is the goal we're trying to accomplish, these are our long-term strategies, this is what we need to get done, and this is where I'm going to struggle and need you, my teammates, it's going to make everyone feel a little bit more accountable and work towards that end goal.
So let's go around the room and tell everyone our weaknesses.
I'm good at everything. And all the truth is, my wife is good at everything. She just kind of keeps me going. So,
Yeah.
Sometimes I just care too much.
right.
So I'm really good at, like, I love the challenge. I love the super challenging Excel models, data analytics, but a big part of what we have to do for clients, it could be minutia. It could be, I have to log into this QuickBooks account every week and I have to classify 400 transactions, and it kills me every time I do it. But right now we're at the stage where I got to do it, and I got to get over that. I don't want to call it ego. It's more it's boredom.
No, so how do you manage
Right.
through? It's the discipline.
Yeah,
right?
it's the
How do you have
discipline, yeah.
discipline? For me, it's scanning and documents. And
Right.
so like
Yeah.
we have this little bitty scanner. So hit the button below if you want to subscribe to our
Or sponsor.
Yeah, sponsor us.
a new scanner. Yeah.
Yeah.
But scanning documents, if there's so many, and then it's like, okay, hey, I don't like I'm scanning 500 papers, and then it's like, okay, well, I don't.
Mhm.
It's not till after the fact that it's like, oh, I need you to scan another 20 pages.
Yeah.
So then I'm going through 500 documents trying to find the 20 pages and then rescanning them, which I've found them as an action item too, something that we're not going to talk about here. But yeah, it's just that daily, like, okay, I have to do it.
Yeah.
And then it's like the organization of it all. And then, like from the tax accounting stuff, you get all this random data and it's like, okay, well, what do we do?
Over data all the time. We got a client that sent me a box of data that has nothing to do with their business return, but I still have to get that done on a timeline. And so, and it's not to their fault, right? Like they're
Right.
not
They
a
don't
tax
know.
guy. They don't
Yeah.
know what I need and what I don't need.
Yeah.
They say, hey, it's tax time. If you're a tax guy, figure it out for me. And
Better
so,
to be cautious than
so it's definitely the challenge, and that's my challenge, right? As all the time is we have these hard set deadlines, and my job is not to only prepare the tax return appropriately, but also give a good timeline to the client and give them some peace of mind
Yeah.
when things, because no matter how good you are at this job, the IRS always thinks they're better, even though usually they're wrong.
Yeah.
We still have to go through that process and to drive the client not to get scared because they're getting a notice here or there. And so that's one of my challenges on the communication piece to the client.
So I'll say, and we're rambling a little bit off of where we wanted to be, but that's fine. One of the things that we
will
do,
get good at this.
we will get better. One of the things we do well is we start to realize it. Like we had a conversation last week. It's like, hey, what if we could streamline communications to all of our clients so they don't give us a box of
Right.
papers and we can kind of manage their expectations a little bit better to cut out maybe 2 hours of minutia over like a 5-6 hour project.
Not even for us, for them.
Yeah. I mean,
Again,
it
there
makes
has to be
everyone's
a strategy
Right.
behind it
Yeah.
for us to then implement some
Right.
stuff. It's not willy nilly. Like
Yeah.
Brian would never just go, "Hey guys, by the way, I changed up the way we do business."
Right.
Yeah.
Like the strategy behind it is like, how do you contemplate and then prepare and then communicate and then enact change
Right.
and then the result follows. So it's not slow, but I think what we're trying to touch on is like you have to be able to communicate. That's the core strategy, but it's short term and long term.
100%.
Yeah, and the way you phrase that, it made me think it's probably the same client you were talking of. One thing that they would do is they would come in one day, they had a bad weekend, they had one conversation, and they would say, "We're not doing that anymore." Axe everything you spent years building,
Yeah.
and say, "We're going in this direction now with no streamlined communication." And honestly, that is the most detrimental thing you can do to your business. It confuses your employees. It probably, if not definitely, aggravates your upper management because everything they've been working has just been ripped to shreds. And I mean, it paints you in a light of not a very great leader. So don't do that.
Small tweaks.
Yes.
Small tweaks at a time.
Yeah.
I definitely know who you're talking about. And you know what? Like,
Guys, I'm still sitting right here.
No.
that's the yeah. We'll talk about your other
Yeah,
previous
right.
experiences,
Yes.
some other podcasts,
Yeah.
but all of ours.
Yeah.
So, and also, I think it's important to notice that like we've all been small business owners, and we've all had failures, like epic failures.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things we have to also acknowledge that that's part of the process. It's a good thing to fail because you learn from it.
Yeah.
I learned the importance of an operating agreement.
Right.
So
Yeah.
critically important to
Yeah.
make sure all that's there. And then also trust your own legal team more than somebody else's legal team. Free advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Closing thoughts. I think that was a good summary. Communication, long-term, short-term, continual tending to the strategy garden. Anything else anyone wants to add before we wrap this one up? We're about 20 minutes in. We're pretty good on time.
I finished my thoughts and my drinks.
There you go.
There we
cheers,
go.
everybody.
Thank y'all, and we will catch you with episode 7.
Thank you.
Talk soon.